This story is dedicated to my third graders who have been out of school because of the swine flu. It's called Sarah Jane, a Cinderella Story from Texas. Once upon a time, way out west, where the tumbleweeds roll and the mesquite trees grow, lived a young lady named Sarah Jane. Her daddy worked in the oil fields, and one day he came home to find his dear wife had passed away. No sooner had the sun set, but Sarah Jane's daddy married another woman with 2 daughters. The girls were knee-high to a grasshopper, yet they and their mean-spirited mother made Sarah Jane scrub the hardwood floors, make biscuits and gravy for breakfast every day, and clean the outhouse. Sarah Jane always worked hard at her chores while her stepsisters played. One day, her daddy came home from working in the oil rig and announced there would be a dance on Saturday night. All the townsfolk would be in their finest, and Sarah Jane loved to dance. "May I go?" Sarah Jane asked. Her stepmother sneered and said, "No, you have to stay home and finish that quilt you've been working on." On the night of the jamboree, Sarah Jane was pulling the needle through the muslin fabric when all of a sudden she saw a woman who said, "Hello, I am your prairie godmother." Suddenly, her prairie godmother fired her shotgun in the air, and a horse-drawn wagon appeared, and Sarah Jane was wearing a beautiful blue calico dress with a matching bonnet and leather cowgirl boots. Sarah Jane said, "Thank you, prairie godmother." Just then, her prairie godmother warned, "There's one catch. You gotta be home by the stroke of midnight." So Sarah Jane hopped in her wagon and headed for the dance. When she arrived, she could hear the sounds of fiddles and boots scooting on the dance floor. Every eye was on Sarah Jane, the most beautiful girl in the West, as she entered the dance hall. Especially Sid Carter, who owned half the land in West Texas. Sid and Sarah Jane danced until the cows came home, when suddenly Sarah Jane realized it was midnight. As she raced out the door, one of her shiny boots got caught on the wagon wheel and fell into the dust. Sid Carter swore up and down he would find his sweetheart in blue. Each day, Sid would take the boot to every homestead to see if he could find his true love. When he got to Sarah Jane's house, her stepsisters tried their luck at the boots, to no avail. Sid smelled beans and cornbread cooking in the kitchen. "Who's cooking that fine supper?" asked Sid. The stepmother explained that it was only Sarah Jane. Sid was as stubborn as a mule and said, "I must see if the boot fits." Sarah Jane came out of the kitchen. The boot slid on her foot as snug as a bug in a rug. No sooner could you shake a stick, but Sid and Sarah Jane got hitched. They lived happily ever after on the Double S Ranch. The end.